My name is Dontez Akram. I'm a 23-year-old entrepreneur from Cleveland, Ohio, father, hustler, 2-time six-figure business owner, and as well as a 7-figure business owner. I own the #1 clothing brand server in the world, Limitless Investments. Come check us out. Yo, what's good, y'all? It's your boy, The Real Tez. Welcome back to another episode of Tez Talks. I'm not actually sure what episode number this is, but nonetheless, we're going to be talking about losses, adversity, mentally overcoming certain barriers that you're probably going through right now. And I hope whatever I'm telling you guys right now is going to be able to enable you to get over whatever hurdle is in front of you. So I want to give a huge shout out to our sponsor, Limitless Investments. It is the #1 clothing brand Discord server in the entire world. So if you want to go check them out, go click the link in the description. Do not forget to leave a subscribe, like, and comment if you guys like this, and share it to a friend. Whoever needs to hear more about how to get over that adversity, L's, losses, all of that stuff, make sure you send them this video. All right, we'll see y'all later.
Is there a right or wrong way to view a loss?
I think when you're looking at losses, you have to understand that it's a part of life. Like, it's kind of like a game. Like, all we're doing is, and I think the school system has done a very bad job of educating us on this, but in school you fail, and then you get all these F's, and then you get disciplined by parents because you failed, when in reality it's the complete opposite in life. In reality, you're supposed to fail as many times as possible so you learn what not to do, and that's what's going to be able to push you a lot farther. But I think there is a certain way that you want to look at losses, right? Obviously you want to hold yourself accountable at all times, but on top of that, just to go farther in life, you got to view these losses as lessons, right? Because every new lesson that you learned is something new that's going to be able to push you farther out, right? And your goals are never going to be able to be accomplished if you don't learn how to get over losses. If you're going to always beat yourself up or fall into a slump or fall into a deep hole and you're never able to recover, then you're just losing out on time as it keeps moving forward. So there is wrong and right ways to look at losses. However, if you're young right now, mentally, you probably can't handle the losses that you're dealing with. And that's something that you have to learn how to do. You got to be able to look in the mirror and ask yourself, like, all right, look, this is what I went through. This is my loss. Where was it my fault at? Okay, this is my fault. Or you want to blame yourself for the whole thing? Do that and then move forward. How can I be better? How can I make sure that this doesn't happen again?
Speak a little bit more about accountability. What that means to you?
So I think accountability is one of the most important things out of, I think, a majority of character traits, right? Like, if you learn how to just hold yourselves accountable, even if it's not your fault, it's going to make you a better man or woman, right? And I think a lot of people have accountability problems. They don't know how to step up and apologize. They don't know how to step up and say, oh yeah, that was my fault. They don't know how to look at a situation, observe it for what it really was, where, you may have messed up, you may have dropped the ball, and not actually stepping up and saying, you know what, look, that one was on me. And I think holding yourself accountable and accountability as a whole is essential to be a well-rounded person. And at the end of the day, that's what you should be chasing. You shouldn't be chasing perfection or, to be better than whoever, right? You should be, chasing being a well-rounded, good human. And I think accountability is one big thing that you need in order to accomplish that.
Are you able to come back from any loss? And if so, how do you overcome these L's?
Absolutely. So whatever loss that you take, just understand that you can overcome it, right? There's a bunch of different L's that a lot of people, very, very big people have made. I looked at a statistic where, like, majority of millionaires who became millionaires, they ended up losing it all and making it all back. And really, it's just how you look at yourself. Like, do you have that dog in you? Do you have it in you to, like, get back up and be like, all right, look, I lost it, or I took this L, or something happened, but I could continue to move forward. I know how to get past this. And even if it doesn't happen in the time frame that I want it to happen in, I'm still gonna chase it until I make it happen. And I feel like if you don't learn how to pick that up, it's gonna be a very hard life for you, if I'm being honest. Because if you think somebody else is supposed to come save you, if you think Biden or Trump are gonna come save you, if you think the government go come save you or anything, sadly mistaken, you're not gonna find that out at all, because they're not gonna do anything for you. So hold yourself accountable, show up every single day, blame yourself when you see fit, and then also just push and keep moving forward.
When you're in these bad spaces, no matter how great or smart they are, what are some ways you can get out of that bad space?
I think for me, when I take really big L's, I think one thing that helps a lot is going to the gym. The second thing I would say is venting to people who can actually listen. and that won't overtalk you or, you know, be like, oh, that's not really nothing, this is my problem. Like, I always like to vent to people who are open to listening and also open into giving me their true feedback and honest feedback. I think when I'm in that mental space, going to the gym is essential as well, but giving myself time to take a step back. Like, sometimes in order to go a far distance, you have to sometimes pause in between so you could keep going at the capacity or at the level that you're trying to go at. And I think a lot of people have very big problems with taking breaks because we're young and social media and everybody wants to be like this person or have this item or drive this type of car or look this way. And we're not looking at just pausing for a second when you take a huge L and you know it impacted you emotionally or mentally or physically. Pausing for a second and then moving forward once you're ready. And I'm not saying you should take 6 months off, but maybe a weekend or two or even a week is good for you. But if you don't learn how to take breaks, it's going to be very hard for you to go and reach the levels that you're trying to reach, because if you're always running at 100%, at some point you're bound to start going down. Like, you could charge your phone as much as you want, but the moment you walk away from your charger and you start using your phone, the battery percentage goes down. So at the end of the day, you got to give yourself a recharge and let yourself, you know, recover from the things that you're going through.
As an entrepreneur, you can lose a lot of money, you can make a lot of money. What's the most amount that you've ever lost?
So recently, we had a pretty big event, and you know, it was supposed to be one of our biggest days ever, money wise. And for us, you know, we had high hopes going in. You know, we were quadruple checking everything, making sure everything was good. And you know, the class, we ended up having one technical issue, one domain error. So if you guys don't know what a domain is like basically www dot blah blah blah, right? So we ended up buying a completely different domain to shorten the old one that we had, just so it could be more convenient for people to type in. And when we were promoting the offer, what happened was that link that we were sending people was redirecting them to a different page. Now, it was identical, but it didn't offer a credit card option, so people weren't able to purchase. So, you know, for us, I think this was my biggest loss. I know this was for a fact. This was my biggest loss. We've lost over $150,000 in just one day, and it was devastating, you know. And let me be honest with y'all, you can look at me as an influencer, you can look at me as a person who influences others or who educates other people and all of those things. However, I'm still human, and that really affected me, obviously, because not only did we prepare a lot, but I also hold myself accountable at all times. So even if it was a technical issue or it wasn't something I can control, I still feel as though I could have done something about it. I could have been smarter. I could have quadruple checked again. I could have went through and, you know, did things myself. And I think with that being one of my biggest losses, it came with a really, really big lesson, right? Number one, don't do it for money. Obviously, do it more so for impact, depending on what you're doing, right? However, what I've also learned is that when you get rich, or when you're getting to that level of rich, or whatever level you're trying to get to, you're going to take financial losses. It's just it's a part of the game, and you got to learn how to take it to the chin. And it's very hard to do. I'm not going to lie. It took me about 3-4 days of venting to certain people, you know what I'm saying, going to the gym and sitting with myself for a long period of time and literally like accepting the fact that, wow, we just lost out on more than 150,000, and that was going to be our biggest day ever. And it was kind of like, it was devastating. But what I can say is that it humbled me, and it also made me realize, okay, look, time to recharge, take a step back, and look at things for what it is. All right, we could have done this better. We didn't do it better. I cannot go back in the past. The best thing about the past is that it's already over. So learn from it, move forward, and continue moving. Like, the world is not going to pause because you took an L. There's multiple other people taking L's as well.
Speak a little bit more about being sad and down on yourself. Like, what effect does being sad today have on the successes of tomorrow?
Absolutely. So I would say, if you're a person, if you're down on yourself, you're depressed, you're sad and things like that, let yourself feel that for a couple days, because it's important for us to not avoid human emotions. Like, I think a lot of times we always say, oh, get back up and you can go, like, and just keep going right after. Nobody ever realizes, like, you're human. Like, if you're sad, sit in your emotions. I'm not saying sit in it forever and dwell in the past, but I am saying let yourself feel it. Like, if you never know what sadness feels like, then how can you truly know when you're happy? Right? So I think one essential thing is being able to sit down and being able to say, man, look, I'm really in my feelings, and taking a break from social media, taking a break from friends, and going out and doing all those things, so you can sit with yourself and realize that you're sad, and then ask yourself, how can I overcome this? Have those mental talks with yourself. If you got to sit in the mirror and talk to yourself, if that's what it takes to get over a hump, then you got to do what you got to do. Because again, there's too many people that's counting on you. And I realized the same thing. We recently, this is very recent, I wanted to do this video because I wanted people to realize that L's do happen. happen to us who are influencers or people who make a lot of money is one of those things, right? But I want people to realize is the type of character that you have after that ill. Who are you going to become after that ill? I could have decided and said, look, I'm going to stay in the bed. I'm going to disappear from social media and I'm not going to really do much. I'm going to just relax, right? I could have said that. However, the dog in me said, yo, we going to get up. We took this L. We going to overcome all of it. And I'm out for vengeance. Now we going for even more. Forget whatever goal we had before. How can we get to the next level? Because again, there's too many people depending on us. And if you know you did something before and it was possible, it's possible again. You just got to go work hard for it. And at the end of the day, it wasn't meant to be as well. Like one thing that I always look at is, what's meant for you is going to come to you. Nobody can stop what's meant for you. So I feel like, when you take certain L's and things like that, it may not have been the time that God wanted you to have it yet. And you have to be okay with that. And that was one thing that was difficult for me to understand. However, once I understood it, I started realizing like, wow, if I did make that amount of money, I would have probably did something stupid with it. Or I would have probably, blew it on something that I didn't absolutely need. And the thing is, it just wasn't meant to be. So I take it for what it is. I'll move forward. And when it is my time, it'll come to me and I'll be just as happy as, when I wanted it the first time. So.
All right. Two-sided question. A couple of times you spoke on the importance of sitting with yourself. So speak on the importance of sitting with yourself as opposed to venting to other people. And number two, you also spoke on like what you're doing right now is you publicizing your loss. So speak on the importance of that too.
So I think it's important to sometimes, you don't really have to publicize your losses, but I feel like for me being an influencer, it's my job to influence others. And I feel like some of you watch my YouTube videos, you watch Instagram videos, you watch my TikTok videos, and you look for inspiration, you look for guidance from me. And I like to be transparent because I don't want to always show y'all the glitter and happy side of things because that's not always what it is when it comes to me. I don't care what other influencer or person you follow is not always the same for them as well. Whatever you see on social media is what we want you to see. We don't let you see the down days. We don't let you see the bad days. So for me, I think it's being transparent to help you and to help my viewers and to help the audience that I actually care about to show y'all, look, I just took an L. Man, does it hurt? Because losing $150,000, man, look, that is painful. However, it's one of those things where I'm like, all right, I got to take it to the chin, right? So I decided to publicize it because I feel as though it would help people, but you don't have to do that. However, when it comes to sitting with yourself and, being by yourself and not really venting to people, I mean, meditating is huge. You know what I mean? Being able to separate yourself from the world and being able to sit with yourself and think with yourself and actually come up with your own observations about yourself and your own opinions of yourself. Because one thing, this is what I realized. You take these L's, right? And again, like I said, you can be that person that falls and never gets back up, or you can be that person who falls and gets back up even faster, right? And what I've realized about it is it's all just character traits and it's all just mental. Like everything is mental. So how strong is your mental when it comes to taking losses? Because when you get that W, you on top of the world. You feel like you can accomplish anything. But are you really him? Are you really her? If you can't feel the same way after a loss and after taking some time to yourself and like, all right, look, I'm going back for this, right? So I feel like, that's what's going to make you unique in the long run. And I feel like, to be an anomaly in your space, you have to be able to understand how you feel about certain things. But on top of that, you also have to be able to take a step back, pause, recollect yourself, and then go back at it at the level that you want to go back at it at.
One thing I feel like people deal with losses is they let it deteriorate their confidence. Why hasn't this loss deteriorated your confidence?
I think me losing out on $150,000 plus isn't going to break my confidence because I know what I'm capable of doing. Like I know for a fact that, look, if I was this close before and it was just one small error like this that made us lose this money, then guess what? All I got to do is do this same exact thing again, go 10 times harder and make sure that error is not there. And we should be able to get the result, if not higher result, right? I think it also depends on your mentality. Like I said, I think I have an above average way of thinking of myself. I know I'm a God and I know, again, I'm an anomaly and I know I'm different. And I know when I walk, I know I step with purpose. So for me, when I take certain L's, mentally, I'm like, dang, man, I get on myself. I get hard on myself just like a lot of other people. But then I'm also like, all right, Tez, look, what can we do better this time? All right. And sometimes you have to have sympathy for yourself because you hold yourself to these high expectations all the time. And if you never just take a break from all that, then it's going to be hard for you to understand who you really are. And you're just trying to be something you're not. So for me, I don't let money especially